It's Mom and Pop Video Shop.
Hello and welcome to Mom and Pop Video Shop. I am Joel, and if you're returning one of our 500 plus subscribers, Lou, we're getting there, man. We're nipping at your heels. We're like that little dog, or like that little chihuahua, right behind you, man. I am joined. So thank you for everybody who's here, subscribers, everybody. I am joined yet again. It's like, what, your third time? Your third time, right?
Yeah, probably. It's
Yeah.
third or fourth.
Somewhere
third.
in there.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there. Yeah.
Somewhere.
My good buddy Lou, creator extraordinaire, and we're going to get into his latest project. That's why I wanted to have you on, Lou. I knew you had another campaign dropping with your cool artwork, and it's a cool new character. And I love supporting independent artists, number one. And number two, my friends, which you are. So there we go. No nepotism. I swear to God. All right, here we go. But we have a wait. This just in. Wait, somebody's knocking at the door. Hold on 1 second. Boom! Pumpkinhead Peter's here. Look at that. From Retro Movie Geek, Terror on the Tube, The Undead Wookiee, and a bunch of other crap.
Yeah.
Not that The Undead Wookiee's crap.
No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just want to make sure I'm clear on that.
If you're listening, I didn't say that.
Yes, exactly. So, Lou, Peter, and I actually were prior to this briefly discussing the plans for this year's Spooky Flicks Fest. But of course, we didn't get remotely far left along. But that's okay. No, don't worry about it. But he wanted to be here because, like me, he also is a big Lou fan. So,
big Lou fan.
We are here to discuss Lou's latest project, which I'm just going to bring up the IndieGoGo. Boom. Beerimus Brew. Oh, hold on. Let me hide it for a second. Let me give Lou. Let me see if it'll let me do this. Hold on a second. Lou, I don't know if it'll let me. Oh, nope. I got it back. Wait, no.
What's happening?
I'm messing this whole thing up. I was trying to see if it would let me zoom in. There we go. There you go, Lou. Hold it up. There you go.
There we go.
Beer's good.
Beerimus Brew.
Beerimus Brew.
And I'm going to bring up now. Hold on 1 second. I will bring up this. And here we go is the actual IndieGoGo. All right. So we are talking about your newest project, which is this comic. And what's hilarious is I am the resident teetotaler. And for those that don't know what it is, look it up. I do not judge you if you imbibe. That is totally your prerogative, just not my cup of tea, which is pretty much all I do along with coffee. So that being said, though, I love this character, not least of which because if I could get back in the gym a little bit more, I feel like I could cosplay as him. So there's that, and grow a beard. I got to do that too.
I kind of see some Peter in there too.
Yeah, I can see that. That's sort of the Viking-ish vibe. It needs more gray. Beerimus needs more gray, and then he'd be
get there.
Yeah, the stresses of being a superhero will get him there.
Indeed. So, tell us about this project, this new comic you've got, because I think it's fun.
Well, this actually started from the last time that I was with you on your show when I had my card games and comic books. So I had these combination of card games and comic books together, and I'm finally getting everything done. And for all the backers, I really appreciate the backers from my Kickstarter from earlier this year. But I sent out the PDFs to everybody, and the one that got a lot of attention from the horror, the pop, rock paper scissors to Pelian is the Beerimus character. As the whole idea of this, I'm a huge beer fan, and beer is just another form of tea, just with alcohol and no leaves. And I thought, with my favorite type of tea, that there should be a superhero where beer is the basis of the superpower. And like in comic books, how everyone is from New York, or in DC, Metropolis and Gotham are just different versions of New York or Chicago.
Sure.
Even in Canadian comic books, everything is Toronto. So I decided he's actually from Nova Scotia. I was going to give the Maritime some love. And he's a former lumberjack who becomes a beer master after he discovers his father, who passed away, or he thinks passed away, left him this mysterious recipe for the perfect lager. And somehow he has the knowledge and he perfects the recipe. And when he takes a sip of this perfect beer, it gives him super strength, super speed, super agility, pretty much like Captain America.
Nice.
Except instead of a super serum, it's a super lager. But
Nice.
and then in the same thing in the Ash Cannon that's going to be in the first issue, his father, he doesn't know much about his dad except when he was a little kid or his dad's past. But a lot of people already know about this mythical recipe. So you got like assassination, robot butlers, a beer baron, secret beer baron who wants the formula, these bar gangs. So these kind of hooligans from different bars who found out about it. You got ninjas, because every comic book's cool.
Of
if you throw in
course,
ninjas.
you gotta have
ninjas. There you go.
And they all want the formula. So it's him pretty much trying to figure out the secret of his father's life, trying to protect this recipe, and of course, kind of like going around saving people on his journeys.
That's cool, man. I like that it has, obviously you've got this potential for a very robust world with all these different characters, but it also has heart because you got the whole aspect of like the father-son dynamic, which I really like. That's cool.
Yeah. Well, we all have when I was talking to a buddy of mine when I first conceived this concept, and we were kind of joking that in many pop culture and movies, there's always the father, the character has some issue with dad.
Mm-hmm.
And so in this one, that I want it to be a positive relationship. Like this guy idolizes his father. His father is the man, but he doesn't really know that much about dad. So that's for me, is going to be a big part of the narrative journey, is him finding out that this, what is this saint that he puts on a pedestal, and is dad really dead or not?
Yeah. Okay, cool. Very nice. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I like that. In fact, I don't want to say there is a current show that I won't say the title of that I feel like it's not a direct biological father situation, but it's a father figure that I'm watching that I absolutely love. So there's a hint. But that is dealing with that issue of putting someone on a pedestal, especially after they're gone. That and when you find out a secret that may rock that view of that person, how that affects it. But the reality is everybody's human, right? I mean, obviously we're talking about made up people, but you know what I mean? With characters, they're all human. So everybody's going to have crap from their past that they're ashamed of, that they did wrong. And it's like when you put somebody on a pedestal, no matter who they are, and then you find out something negative that you don't like that goes against something you believe. And then it's interesting how we get into this moral quandary. It's like, well, until you knew that fact was always there. That person had done that. You just didn't know they had done that thing. And then as soon as you find out, suddenly it changes everything. That just sounds to me like you're being judgy, right? But we all do it. Like I do. Everybody does that. So I like that. I think that's cool that you have that in the comic.
Well, I'm going to try to balance the comedic and goofy, because it is a goofy concept.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to get overboard with the seriousness, but I want to balance the goofiness with the heart.
Yeah.
And that's the fun of storytelling, trying to move in that direction and see how it resonates with people.
Yeah, that's very cool, man. I love it. I think it looks like a lot of fun. I remember when you put out the card set that I really, it's weird because again, I'm not a beer drinker, but I was like, I think that's awesome. I love it. I love the punniness of it. Oh, hold on. Let me bring you back into, I will remove that and go to this one. Boom. There we go.
Yeah.
I should be able to give you the
I was actually contemplating having a beer as when we recorded, but
I should have actually had a beer with me too. Oh yeah, that's some of the artwork.
I think it's funny because I got to figure this out on StreamYard, how I can let the one person be the full screen. I should be able to do that, but for
you did that with yourself.
I know it does that. I think by default because I'm
he's
like
mastered it with himself.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, I have to.
Yeah.
I can go like this. This kind of makes up for this way, Lou, because you're on get your phone in the profile mode.
So that works.
It does. But anyway, so I guess then, so you've given us the basic pitch, right? Let us know where, obviously I know, but let all of us know where they can find the comic, how they can get it, what you're offering, if they support it, etc., etc.
All right, so I just launched it today on IndieGoGo. People know Kickstarter. This is the other crowdfunding website, IndieGoGo. So it's just launched today. It's going to be up for 40 days. It's a very modest goal. Like my goal is to raise $650 minimum, because a lot of the book is already done. I just want to pay the artist to finish the rest of the book.
Yeah.
And anything above and beyond, we could look at doing issue number 2, maybe number 3, because I've already wrote the first 5-issue arc for this
nice.
character.
Nice.
So seeing where it goes there. As for what I'm offering, so this is the ash can from the actual card game, but it'll be the full issue, which will be about 24 pages. And then I have variant covers from like some very like talented, amazing artists like Hugh Rookwood, who is an multiple award-winning artist who has done children's books. He's done covers for Image, IDW, Archie Comics, Aftershock. There's Conor McGregor, and yeah, he's not the fighter, but his name is Conor McGregor, and he's another Canadian artist who his style is just absolutely amazing. And the cover he's doing for me is his first ever comic book cover. But on Instagram, he has a huge following, and he has customers all over the world who buy his artwork. And then there's an artist out of Saskatchewan, Elaine Will, who is another award winner. She won a Joe Shuster Award, which is like the top comic book award in Canada, named after the legendary co-creator of Superman.
Mm-hmm.
And she's also going to be doing a cover, but she's still working on it, so that's a work in progress. And then I also have, and it's a weird one, but in issue number 5, I'm introducing the Beerimus. It's Beerimus, but spelled differently. But Beerimus Lager. It's a transforming beer can robot. So I made a prototype of it, and I decided, hey, let me make 15 limited edition cardboard transforming beer can prototypes and put as part of the campaign as well. So
That's cool.
Kind of jumping the gun, but I thought it'll be a fun thing for people to have the first transforming beer can toy.
Yeah, I think I saw that. I just
Yeah.
had a brief chance to check out the IndieGoGo. I think I saw that transformer thingy.
Yeah,
Nice.
you did. Yeah. That's really cool, man. And I also, again, one thing I appreciate about you is that, and it's done in such a wonderfully sincere way that you're trying to support other indie artists from your area, right? So that, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's the thing, is like everybody's always trying to get, I don't know, connections to, I don't know what the equivalent would be for comic books, but I'm saying for movies, right? You got to go to Hollywood. It's like, no, man, keep it local. You'll find all kinds of amazingly talented people. You know, and I understand you're also, you're focusing on your entire country. I realize it's not like your backyard. These people don't live in your neighborhood. I get that. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think there's just something cool about, you're trying to keep it, you know, it's with your region. And I think it's awesome. I love that.
Well, when I go to Comic Cons, because as you know, I do this full time. I gave up the truck driving job to make cardboard art and sell comic books at conventions all
As
over.
one would.
Yeah. And you know, I was recently in your backyard, like about 300 miles away, but still in Florida.
Yeah.
And you know, when I was talking to different people and like patrons, they're asking like, how do you do this? And I go, the number one thing you want to do when you go to Comic Cons is, yes, you want to make money, but the second thing is to make connections and to get to know people. I only started this 7 years ago, and I didn't know anyone. But you go to convention, you start talking to people, and one thing that I love about the comic book industry or the creative industry as a whole is that you just have so many talented people who are just hungry for any opportunity. And there's a lot of respect, and I meet so many different artists from all over the place. Like even like Hugh Rookwood, keeping in Canada, Hugh Rookwood is from Alberta, just a city just north of Calgary. And then I have an artist from the province of Saskatchewan. I'm deciding to make the character from Nova Scotia. I have no bonds to Nova Scotia whatsoever. I've never even been there. Canada is a very vast, gigantic country. But I just thought, you know what, let's just give this whole country some love. And even one of the villains is from the Yukon territory. Why? Because I felt like it. I think Yukon needs something.
Can I just, Lou, let me just interject this too. That also is what I love, because that's really what creativity should be, right? You should, as an artist, especially a writer, right? That type of creative, telling stories. I would think you'd want to tell stories that maybe you don't know. That gives you an opportunity to learn more about it, to, you know what I mean, to do research, to find out, I don't know. I think as a creative tapping it, people always feel like they've got to do the whole, like, you can only do the art based on you or like where you come from. It's like, what? If that's the case, man, nothing would ever get done. Like, and I think it's a celebration. Like, it's cool to me when an artist who's not from an area or isn't part of a certain group or whatever, and they're like, no, I want to do this. I want to give them their due, or I want, does that make sense?
No, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Part of imagination and creativity, it doesn't matter if writing or drawing, is taking yourself out of your element.
Yes.
And trying other things and expanding yourself and trying to put yourself, just like acting, you're putting yourself in someone else's shoes.
Yeah.
And you're trying to challenge yourself to do it properly.
Yeah.
So as you can see, I'm not a lumberjack white guy with a massive bill.
What?
Like a beard and all that.
Whoa,
That's I know, shocking.
Oh my God.
Some people think Peter and I are brothers. But Todd McFarlane is not black, but Spawn is a black character.
That's the character.
Yeah, exactly. So, I'm not into, like, we could go into a whole discussion about Hollywood trying so hard to, not, taking this character and making this character black or making this character Asian to please this person, and certain voice actors having to apologize to doing the voice of a character that's not there. I'm dead set against all that garbage.
Yeah.
Listen, I just watched Tropic Thunder.
Robert Downey Jr. owes no one an apology.
No, and to me, the dumbest part is that movie specifically, it's literally satirizing the kind of pompous actor that does that kind of thing. It's not making fun of black people. It's making fun of the kind of guy that would do that to begin with. Dummy. Like, that's the joke. Oh my God.
Instead of just making stories that are good.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I think about, like, People Under the Stairs, Wes Craven, right? His character Fool is this little black kid from the poverty and just all this stuff. And I, as even a kid, I was about his age. Brandon Adams, the actor, and I are about the same age. And when I met him in real life, like one of my first cons I went to, Spooky Empire, it's about like 2012-ish, somewhere in there. And I was like over the moon, because even though I was like this little, not that we, despite what Daryl used to say about me, my quote unquote white suburban family did not actually have very much, but I relate, the key word, I related to him. I love that character so much, to the point where, probably, I don't know if you can see it, but actually, if I'd have to, let me see if I expand to now you can see it right there. Thanks to Tyson and our buddy RJ, the album for People Under the Stairs, which is now my second copy of it, because they didn't know I already had it, but now it's represented in the store. My point is, that shit shouldn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter. You love the characters you love.
Good writing, good story,
good storytelling, and showing respect for, people. I mean, if you're going out your way to be like a dick and you're denigrating people, like, I mean, creatively, I feel like if that's what you would do, that's what you do. I don't want to buy your stuff, but
no. And again, going like you said, Luke, going out of your comfort zone. It means you have to learn something that you don't know. You have to study stuff to get it right. Great. And that everything works out. The people get a good story, and you learn something new. So
Well, the challenge in everything is, you hear all the time. I see it online, and it was even with the whole superhero fatigue moment that happened, a blip in time, where the MCU right now, it helped create this whole geek culture they have right now. I call this still, we're in the geek renaissance, even though it's dying down now. But that same MCU now has made it where it's such mass produced, overly done, over and over again type of storyline, where people are kind of getting fed up. So the challenge is on independents like myself and all the other great independent comic book creators out there, to get this stuff to people and say, hey, there's new ideas out there. We have other things. Because ultimately we're in a point now, because I've even pitched, like, about my rock, paper, scissors comic book, which is still my bestseller to this day. Always keep a copy handy. So I pitched it to networks. I've even gotten to talk to people, but they're in the mode right now where they just want to recycle
Mhm.
over and
Yeah.
over again. Like my wife is the one who told me that they're doing a Twisters movie.
Yeah, I saw it.
Twisters. And
Now,
it's like,
I know.
and-
Here's the thing, Lou. Before here, I saw it. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of the original. I really like the original. I
Yeah.
will say it's not a remake per se, and it does take. It's like it's a sequel kind of in name only, in that this was like a new group of people. It's
Yeah.
very similar in a lot of ways. But here's the thing: I will give it 100% credit for. It is just a old. It felt like a '90s era popcorn throwback action movie. That's what it felt like. And I personally think Glenn Powell, the guy that got in it, is like an actual honest to God new movie star. Like he's at, you know what I mean? There's something about that guy. He's got great charisma, very charming. He does that great job of being kind of douchey, but really likable at the same time. You know what I mean? And it's like, so I am 100% with you that the problem is they keep recycling and doing, but it's not even
Taking
just
the safe route.
Yeah, it's a safe route.
Exactly.
Yeah, totally.
So
But if they're going to do it, then do it right? Like do something that's entertaining and fun.
yeah, like and I'm not knocking or saying it's going to be a bad movie. Some of them do it great. Like this was still years ago, but when they did 21 Jump Street,
Yes.
when they made that movie, I
Yeah.
loved both of them, number 1 and number 2. Absolutely, my wife, I absolutely love them. Sometimes Hollywood gets it completely correct.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But I think that the problem is, Peter said, they're all playing it too safe now.
Yes.
Yep.
100%.
Where
agree
they're
with
just like, they're just digging whatever old they can find.
Yep.
We own this IP. Let's just rehash it again.
Yep.
For a new generation.
Yep.
And as I said, sometimes they do it well. They put the thought and energy into it. Other times we're just going to poop it out.
Yep.
And we're not even going to give you the toilet paper to clean yourself up. So it's
Wow,
but
that's
for,
harsh.
But it's true.
Yeah,
it is.
but for many of us, we you hear it when you go to conventions. You hear it.
Yeah.
Where's the new stuff? Where's the
Yes.
innovative stuff? And we're like, it's here. We
Well,
have
yeah.
it.
Well,
We have it, but you gotta
and
give
to
it
your
to
point, and I want to see you both being like me, Gen X era people.
Yeah.
The funny thing is that there was a while there where I loved. I've got 3 young sons, and there was a lot of stuff coming out that was connected to our childhoods. But I'm now to a point where I actually kind of retroactively am sad about it, because it kind of hit me when we're growing up, and it's 1984. You get
Yeah.
these brand new, no one's ever heard of them. They sound like ridiculous nonsense on the surface. Things called Ghostbusters and Gremlins and Beverly Hills Cop and Night of the Comet, just in 1984, right? I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Yet our kids are getting Axel F, which is, don't remember, I there was part of me that kind of enjoyed it because it was good to see Eddie back cussing up a storm and not doing a kids movie. That made me happy. But it's not great. It's like, it's fine. It happened. It was a thing, right? But it was better. It was better than Beverly Hills Cop 3. I will say that. It was definitely better than that. But you know what I'm saying? Like, or they have the new Ghostbusters movies. Like, all they're getting is like I feel gross saying this about our kids because to say sloppy seconds, but it feels like that, right? It feels like they're just getting the creative sloppy seconds from our generation, as opposed to taking the things that inspired our generation and creating something new out of it. That's what we need.
Yeah, the only thing I can actually say that would be a positive thing with the new Ghostbusters movie, and also Axel F and all those movies, if you have the new generation who for some reason watch an Axel F movie without knowing who the hell that is, if it sparks an interest to go back to the original movies.
If it does, the problem is, what if they're so it's not good enough, and then they don't like it, and they're like, I don't want to buy. Why would I want to watch the old thing? This wasn't any good either. You know what I mean? Like, that's the danger, ironically, of that.
So,
I get your point, though. I get your point.
New ideas would be.
It's the weird balance, but I think ultimate for studios and whatnot, it's just because I know some people who are in the industry, smaller time guys, but they're in the industry, and it's just ease.
Mm-hmm.
It's just easier for studios to take something that they already own and just rejig it and hope that the new generation accepts it. And as Peter says, if they do a good job, then hey, let's go dig up the old stuff and keep it going. And of course, with us Gen Xers, we're still a big part of all this because they're feeding into our nostalgia too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So they want to feed into our nostalgia. Like, one of my favorite movies of all time is The Last Starfighter. I love that movie.
Love that movie so much.
I still remember my mind was blown
Yeah,
because
I remember my
actually saw
dad
the
taking
last
me to see
Starfighter.
that. I love that movie.
Yeah, I saw the Last Starfighter way before I saw Return of the Jedi.
Oh wow, okay.
Because it was one of the first times I ever been to a theater when I was a kid.
Yeah,
And I saw the Star Wars stuff when it was on VHS.
sure.
And I just remember my mind was blown. It was so different and all that kind of stuff. And now, my wife told me, yeah, you heard they're remaking it.
Oh
It's
god.
gonna take place after the original. And I was like, and there was a part of me that should have been excited.
Yeah.
Because again, this is one of my favorite movies, but then of
Yeah.
course there's that fear. Are
Yep.
they gonna do it right?
Yep.
Or are they just going for a cash grab? Like Beetlejuice, I'm excited for it because it's the original cast.
It's Tim Burton.
Yeah, Tim Burton. Michael Keaton. He's one of those actors that whatever
Yeah.
he touches turns to gold. Even with that Flashpoint movie, the best part of that movie was all his parts.
Of course. Yeah.
And so I'm very optimistic about that. But I think this is just where we are, and we have to come to grips with it. That until you yourself, do sales that are so amazing, so out there that they're like,
Yes.
okay, now we're going to give you some attention.
Yeah.
If you have, you could have a multi-billion-dollar idea sitting in front of you, or as a colleague of mine put it, if the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were introduced today, no one would touch it.
Nope, nobody would touch it, and they didn't
No
really
one
want to
would
touch
touch
it
it.
back then, right? It'd be at the beginning, right? So it's that
Lightning in
attitude
a
has
bottle.
that attitude's always been there. It's
Yeah.
always been there. The difference was, I feel, that the risk aversion, which again has always been there, I feel like has just gotten more and more pronounced. Like it's more severe. There was at least windows and pockets of people that were in charge of things that were at least willing to take a risk. And it feels like we don't have very many of those people in charge at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They'll bend over and take a knee for everything, but they sure as hell won't take a shot on a new script that they can't, attach something from the past to.
And just for your viewers, when I say that I'm a huge Turtles fan, so I want to clarify, I don't mean that fans wouldn't give it a shot. Is that Hollywood in the mainstream?
I get what you meant.
Fans would love
remember,
it.
Yeah, I remember reading, because I read the comics, and then you heard about a live action movie back then. But I'm aging myself here. I was like, how is this gonna work?
Yeah.
And the first movie, it's just, and I'm talking the original here for those who don't know.
1990, right? Was that 90? The original?
Oh, yeah. The cartoon series came out in 87, 88. So early 90s. It was
90, 91 was the
I think something like that. And that first movie is just perfect.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's a fun movie.
Yeah. So,
but this is what we're saying about how and I think this is the beauty of the 80s. I honestly believe they just tried anything.
And that's what we need to come back to, though, right? That's that attitude. You know what it is, Lou? I'll tell you
that's why
that.
we have movies like Zone Troopers.
Yes. Yeah. And Eliminators and wacky crap. But here's the thing.
Yep.
I think that's, if I honestly, and this is a knock I'm going to say against our generation. And I'm keen guilty of this because, my God, I've done entire my entire podcast that I've done have been built on this idea of nostalgia, right? But I realize the flaw in that is the real thing that needs to come back from the 80s isn't the IPs, it's the attitude. And I don't mean the attitude about everything socially and all that.
No.
I'm talking about creatively, that we got to take some friggin' chances and that we've got to, give something like Beerimus a shot. You got to try, man. You got to swing at the fences.
It's like you wake up in the middle of a drunken stupor in the middle of the night. You have an idea. Like, you know what?
Yes.
Let's try this. Because again, Zone Troopers. Just because you had that on the wall. It's who comes up with that, or any movies of that ilk.
That's just weird. So, wonderfully weird.
We have to get back to that and just make the movies and make not like some I don't remember what the production company is. The ones that made the movies, they made them bad because they could.
Asylum.
Like Asylum, yeah. Even though they had some kind of cool movies,
some more entertaining. But
you have to make
they do it. There's a cynicism to it.
Yes,
right.
Yeah, you should do it with just for the hell of it. That's how the movies work.
My kids and I have taken up, like, we'll watch like Riff Tracks and MST3K and stuff, and we watched recently Miami Connection, and they loved it. And I tried to make the point, and I think they get it now. The reason why a movie that's that quote unquote bad works on some level, it's sincerity.
Yeah.
that YK Kim and the people behind that movie sincerely were trying to make the best movie that they could make. The fact that it turned out the way it did is beside the point. If you go in though, like, oh, I'm going to make something and make it bad on purpose. Now, there's a fine line, right? Like my buddy, I've gotten it over since we've done the channel, Chris Seaver, right? A lot of his movies are like that, but the difference is there's a sincerity in his love for this kind of campy, over the top, really vulgar humor, all that stuff, and that has to be there. If there's no sincerity on the part of the filmmaker, it's really, although I say that, and then I realize how many movies that went to like the drive-in or straight to video, and it was just a cash grab, right? They were just trying to glom on, but for some reason it's still, because I think because the difference was the money people, the money men behind those movies, they were the cynics. It was the artist that had to make the movie that took it really serious, and that came through in the product.
And again, to go back to Beerimus Brew, you have, a character like Popeye, who eats spinach, and all of that works. Even in
Popeye with beer, that's the pitch.
Yeah, and again, you have Goofy, the Walt Disney character Goofy. He ate the magic peanuts, became a super, and he gave them to his nephew. That makes him. We read them over here.
Yeah, I don't remember that at all.
And over here is a Swedish comic about a little bear who his grandma makes kind of like a super honey that makes him super strong and everything, and everyone else eating it gets feel bad and they have a tummy ache and all that. But it's hugely popular. So these stories work, and they work for every generation.
Yeah.
Well, someone even brought up, and I completely forgot about this. Is our youth gummy bears.
Oh yeah, remember gummy bears?
The Disney gummy bears. They made that gummy berry juice.
Yep.
And like I wasn't even thinking about that at the time. So, like I said, there is some repetition in every creative work. It's just where you want it. Where you want to go with it.
Yeah.
And you take inspiration from certain things. Yeah. And when my friend bringing up gummy berries, I realized, okay, I'm actually glad you brought that up, because I don't want to write something that might seem like it's a copy of something else.
Mm-hmm.
So I have the flexibility, like, okay, you know what? My story was going this direction. You know what? I'm going to pivot this direction now.
Mm-hmm.
Still following the path I'm going to. There's multiple ways to follow a path.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's the fun of also writing and creating and working with my artists. That's just like, and my artist will also give me advice. Like I should also mention Quinion. My artist for this is Quinion Dang. This is her artwork.
Nice.
And she is just an absolutely brilliant and talented artist. She worked on the Fabulous Freak Brothers cartoon series.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
And Rubble from Paw Patrol. Like I think she did storyboarding for them.
Mm-hmm.
So she has experience in the industry too, but the industry is doing a lot of shrinking and consolidating.
Mm-hmm.
Even a lot of good popular cartoons. What's the one my wife and I were just watching? It's about this alien world. It's on the tip of my tongue. It's critically acclaimed, and like it's like Fantastic Planet, but it only got one season. Everyone loved it, and then they canceled it.
Is it current? It's like a relatively recent
it's
one?
very current. God, no.
Yeah, I don't know.
My wife is she'll be yelling it to me, but yeah, it was all in the media. I think Netflix has taken the rights for it, but everyone loved it. Brilliantly written, and it got canceled because I guess it was expensive, or they didn't want to invest more into it. Who knows? We're in some very odd, weird times right now.
Well, and I want to bring it back to your gummy bears example, but see, that's what I'm talking about. Subconsciously, that maybe that was somewhere in you. But that's you being, first of all, we both know this. There's nothing original. Original is such a BS idea. The only thing that makes it original is that you take all these things that are familiar, you put them through the blender and filter that is your perspective on the world, and there's your originality. It's like your fingerprint, right? That's how it's original. But what I was getting at now, if you were just trying to make a reboot of Gummy Bears, that's what I'm talking about. I don't want anymore. I want somebody who is inspired by, like, to find out like years later, like, oh, I love this comic, Beerimus Brew. It was inspired by the freaking, it turns out the guy somehow subconsciously was remembering I know I'm not saying you were, but you get my point. Yeah. Like the gummy bear, like you always hear that about like guys we grew up watching and loving their movies and stuff. You find out like, oh, Assault on Precinct 13. Like I remember when I found it was Rio Bravo. And you're like, and then once you see Rio Bravo, that led me to go watch Rio Bravo. And I'm like, holy, I see it now. That's cool. Okay. it made me think like, oh, that's cool. I see how he took this core concept that he loved as a kid and applied it to a totally new genre, a totally new thing, and it feels fresh. That's all it is. You gotta feel fresh. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be fresh. Just feel it.
It works only on this channel. And talking to Lou, you'll hear mention of the Furry Freak Brothers and the Fantastic Planet more or less in the same sentence, which is weird in itself.
Yeah.
I love both of them. Fantastic Planet is a super good movie, and Furry Freak Brothers there's another thing about something that shouldn't work but does.
Yeah.
And that even the Furry Freak Brothers. Did you read Fat Freddy's Cat?
I know that, but I haven't read it.
It is just out there.
No, there's a lot of classic stuff, but it's also from the 70s when the Freak Brothers came out, and there's so many like I'm still trying to get through I bought a collection from Robert Crumb.
Oh yeah,
his books. Yep. And it's just finding the time. So kind of on a different subject. In October, one of my favorite conventions is coming up in Niagara Falls called Frightmare in the Falls. It's Canada's largest horror convention.
Cool.
And someone was, they want me to make a whole bunch of classic 3D cardboard pieces, and they want classic movie posters. So we started talking about Soylent Green, and was it like of course Planet of the Apes, Logan's Run, and all that. And it's like, oh my god, I gotta start watching these all over again. It's been a while since I've seen these. And I'm gonna make them a whole bunch of the 3D posters, but
that's cool.
Yeah, that's the kind of fun nostalgia where you could say like, okay, let me go back to these movies and knowing I'm gonna enjoy watching them again.
Yeah, and
nerding out to it.
Awesome,
nice.
Lou, my friend. This is always too damn short when we talk to you.
I know.
So there is Beerimus Brew.
I'm just happy to be here. I haven't talked to Lou in a long time.
I know. When I realized Peter and I needed to have a conversation, and I was like, well, you could just jump on with Lou. And by the way, Tyson does apologize. He had something going on personally, so he was unable to be here, but he wanted to be.
He told me there was going to be a surprise guest, and so my immediate says, "Oh, it's Peter."
Yeah, he did. Peter with a bunch of exclamation points.
Really? And he's like, "No, you're close."
No, I know. I said no, but I said,
is it Daryl? He's like, no, it was Peter.
He said, Peter with a bunch of exclamation points. I said, well, you're getting warm. Or you're getting warmer. I was just being like a smart ass. And then he went, Daryl? I was like, oh, no, you had it the first time. I probably should have said, I didn't know how to verbally say, you're hot, because you hadn't been playing the hot cold game. So I was like, you're getting warmer. But I see how that could be misconstrued. To be fair, that was 100% my fault. But regardless, Peter, I am glad you could be here, and
I'm happy to.
I know I know Richard Movie Geek, which I know something else we need to discuss. Whether or not have you guys recorded a new episode yet with that?
I'm waiting for Daryl and or Liz to get in touch because I'm binging Buffy at the moment, and we need to talk about it.
Okay, well, regardless, this is my way. And then occasionally, I would love to have like Daryl on the channel and all that, just to hang out.
Yeah,
I do miss talking to you guys on the reg. Although occasionally I get the wonderfully loving Vox from Daryl. It's usually something.
Hang on,
profane.
The latest he sent us was. Hang on, so I get it.
Yeah, make sure you tell it's in all caps with exclamation points.
Yeah.
And by the way, we haven't heard from him in like a week and a half or 2 weeks, and this is what we get.
Yeah, Kuntis.
No, it doesn't say Kuntis.
Kuntis.
It says a word that normally starts with a C, although I'll give him credit, he started with a K, and it's let's just say somewhat of a insulting name reflected of female genitalia.
Yeah, well.
And what is it? Billy is it Billy Butcher, the one from The Boys? Isn't that the one? Is that Billy Butcher? That's his name, right?
Yeah, Billy.
Urban character, Carl Urban character. Yeah,
Billy Butcher.
He calls people this word a lot.
Yes,
on the show. So,
so he played with a word, Kuntis.
Yes, Kuntis. I don't think he was saying. Yeah, he was not saying Kunta Kinte. He was calling us something else.
Probably a mix of both.
Knowing him, probably.
Yeah.
So, all of that being said, please support Lou. Support independent artists. Obviously,
link, as it says, link in description below.
There might be a mild bias here because I really do love Lou. I feel like we've known each other now quite a while, actually. I mean, my God, we had you on Richard Movie Geek I remember the first time, but it's been a long time.
Yeah,
What was
that
the
is
first
true.
movie? That was
Yeah.
a long time ago.
Yeah. It's like
Dang.
Peter
It's
will
been
say to me,
years.
how long?
It's been some years.
Yeah, it's been some years for sure, dude. And it's funny, the older you get, the shorter that time frame gets. So Peter will say, yeah, we did that 10 years ago. I'm like, no, we didn't. He's like, yeah, dude, we did.
Yeah.
Sad.
Yeah.
Sad.
Because I like, it was like 3 years ago. What are you talking about? Anyway, but yeah, so please.
I'm getting more grandchildren, by the way.
Oh, congratulations, dude.
Congrats, man.
The
Yeah,
kids
pretty
are
sure you got more
finally spawning.
Yeah, they're spotting. How'd that work? They're finally
But as you said,
creating.
that's how time flies. Like my kid now is like going to middle school, and
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know,
I
she
remember
wants to
seeing her
train for
in-
the Olympics. She wants to train for the Olympics. So
Oh, that's crazy.
I
man.
still
That's
remember
cool.
seeing her in your
baby.
videos.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yes.
I'm
Yeah,
like,
my
this
boys
baby.
are all in high school now. You're like, what the hell, man? I had to be careful because I sometimes can be, I know Shucky learned a bit of a big softie. And so I'll occasionally come across something, you know, I get those like updates, like we put together different photo books. And so we'll get like 8 years ago, you were doing this. And it's just a picture of them. And they just look so innocent and tiny. And they're like, there's one where, and I've got it on my computer as my background, where they've got like the Hulk fist. So one of them's got the Hulk fist, one's got the Batman ears, the cowl and cape. And they're, you know what I mean?
I've seen that.
Yeah, it's just like, I just look at him, I'm like, God almighty.
Listen, my youngest is 19, okay?
Oh, you're old, though, to be fair.
Yeah.
I know.
I could be your kid, Peter.
3 generations of Gen X right here.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
We still need to get Joel to drink a beer or two.
I have drank beer before. I honestly, the reason why I don't, full disclosure, let's just say in high school, I imbibed many times, and it never affected me, and alcoholism runs rampant on one side of my family. I'm like, nah, bro, I ain't going out like that. So I'm like, I just ain't even going there. I got a lot of German and Irish people on one side of my family. I'm like, nope.
Oh boy.
Oh, then it's nothing to you. It's like water.
Dude, no, hey, I crap you not. The first time I ever drank really hard liquor, had like 4 or 5 shots of vodka and about 7 or 8 shots of Southern Comfort. I was out running sprints outside with my friend, and the next day I had no hangover. I'd never had hard liquor before.
I used to have drinking competitions. I am surprised my liver still works.
But see, that bothered me. That like freaked me because my mom had warned me. My great grandfather was this Irishman, and he would get so just rage drunk that it would take like 6 guys to drag him off to jail in the paddy wagon. And I'm like, you know what? No, I'm not going out like that. That scares the crap out of me. I'm not doing it. Ain't worth it. I don't even like the taste that much. What's that?
The stupidest thing I've ever done while drunk was in Florida, but the pub at the hotel, there was happy hour. We drank, I was going to say a moderate amount, but that's a fucking lie. And it ended up going, this is in the middle of the night, swimming in the sea in Florida.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't do that at night. Yeah,
no.
Especially because I think where you were was near Smyrna Beach, and that's like one of the shark bite capitals of the world.
I heard an orchestra somewhere playing.
Yeah. Dude, to this day, I'm a native Floridian, and I don't go into the ocean unless I'll wade. Like I'll tell you, I'll go ankle deep when I'm walking on the beach with my wife, but I don't go into the damn water no more. Nah.
Florida just makes you do crazy things.
Well, yes, it does.
Yeah.
That's why I love it.
The craziest thing I did drunk has to do with water. I set a pool on fire.
Wow, that's an achievement.
Yeah, that's a story on its own thing.
Okay, we'll save that for the next time you're on. We have got to talk to you about the setting a pool on fire. That almost makes about as much sense. I have not seen the Acolyte, but I have heard about the stone structure being burned down. And so that makes about as much sense.
The original Conan movie, that's what he does.
Yeah, but isn't there other things that catch fire?
Yes. Okay. Yes, there is.
All right.
By crumb, there's ways to do it.
There always is, man. All right. Well, on that note, again, Lou, thank you so much for being here. The description is in the The link is in the description below to check out Lou's comic book, Beerimus Brew, and be sure to support it. And I'm going to throw you both under the bus with this one. Remember, at Mom and Pop's, our love of
me.
Oh, Lou never stops.
Yep.
He wins.
Classic movies, horror, and me never stops.
Mom and Pop.